Scotland's Under-21s back in action this afternoon. Wales Under-21s are the opponents and the venue is the Pinatar Arena in Spain. It's off the back of the friendly match on Thursday night. Scotland losing 3-2 to Sweden in a very competitive match. Some good football played by Scotland in that game as well. A couple of top quality goals from Dire Mabudi and Lewis Fiorini to finish things off, and Scott Gemmell will be hoping that his side can produce some more quality in this game this afternoon. I'll give you the team news shortly, but before that, let's hear from one of the players that is starting this game. The Scottish FA have been catching up with Dire Mabudi.
Dire, thanks for joining us today. How have you found the week in Spain so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. Nice weather out here, so yeah, it's a good getaway.
It's a relatively young group, but you seem to all be gelling quite well.
Yeah, it's a very good group. We all get on along well, so I mean, yeah, we gel together well. So
It's a few more experienced guys, the likes of Josh Doig. Have the boys been good helping you settle in your first time?
Yeah, definitely. Especially in the game, they're always speaking because they're more experienced than us. So yeah, it's good to get a feel for things.
Just looking back to the game on Thursday, how many times have you watched your goal since?
A good few times, yeah, a good few times. I just found myself in a good position on the pitch. Received the pass well from Lewis, and yeah, the rest is just natural to me.
Is that something we can get used to, watching you?
Yeah, pretty much.
In the last year or so, we've obviously seen your brother Dapo playing for the Under-21s as well.
Yeah.
What's he been like? Has he spoke to you at all this week?
Yeah, he spoke to me and told me a bit of how it would be, and yeah, he's got a good clue about it. So yeah, I went to watch him a few times as well.
Am I right in saying that football's in your family? Has it always been that case growing up?
Yeah, it has. My oldest brother really started it off. He was at Rangers, and then obviously Dapo, he was at Rangers too. So I didn't really play football like that until we came up to Scotland, and then I thought, yeah, let me try it, and then the rest is history. And my little brother's obviously playing as well, so it's really good.
Have you always been quite competitive with each other?
Not really. I mean, we kind of like set the standard for each other, but we always know who was where in the pecking order, so it never really got past that.
Was the competitive games just for fun, as long as you can remember?
Yeah, definitely, just for fun, because I couldn't really compete with them when I was younger.
What's been your Scotland pathway so far? What different age groups have you played at?
I played with under-16s, that was like 2018, something like that, and then COVID hit, so we didn't really play under-17s or 18s, and then played under-19s last season, and then played under-19s this season, and then 21s call-up, so yeah, it's been pretty smooth so far.
Just playing in the game on Thursday, how did you find the level in terms of, was it a step up from the under-19s? Did you notice that? Yeah,
definitely. It was more intense and there was better players. Sweden obviously a good side, so yeah, it was a step up.
Ian Doak sadly had to miss this camp. Is that someone who you've played with before?
No, actually, I was really looking forward to playing with him. Very good player. So yeah, I asked him was he coming, and he got a little concussion, so quite sad he couldn't be here, but very good player.
I think from a supporter's point of view, everyone loves creative players and wingers, and
definitely.
The thought of you two linking up on the wings might be an exciting thing to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Nah, he's a year younger than me, so yeah, hopefully we get a chance to play together in the future.
What different positions do you play, and what would you say is like your favourite positions?
I can play left wing, right wing, striker. I can play right back as well if I have to, but yeah, my favourite position is right wing.
Just touching on Manchester City, there's a few of the Scottish boys in there, yourself, Josh Adam, Kieran Slicker. Do you all get on well? Yeah,
we all get on well. Me, Lewis, Kieran, Josh, yeah, we get on well. And it's good to see players that you're familiar with. So yeah, we just try and get the best out of each other.
It seems a silly question, but I imagine there's a few players at Man City that you can learn off?
Yeah, definitely. There's just stars and stars there, so yeah, it's very good learning out there.
Have any of the first team players been particularly helpful to yourself?
I mean, there's more that's more talkative than others, like Phil Foden, Nathan Ake, because they've kind of been in like the English academy.
For someone who hasn't perhaps watched you play before, how would you describe your style of play?
I'd say quite unique. I'm like dominant 1v1s, I like dribbling, I like creating, also like scoring, so yeah.
Just looking ahead to the Wales game as well, a tough game on Thursday night. Do you expect another tough test on Sunday?
Yeah, definitely. It's always tough at this level, international at 21, so yeah, we're ready for it.
I think the temperature is set to be quite hot in a lunchtime kickoff. That'll be a different challenge as well. Is that something you've faced before?
Yeah, I've faced it quite a few times, obviously playing this season in different competitions, but yeah, it's a different challenge playing out in Spain in the heat, so yeah.
You strike me as quite an ambitious person. Do you have any major ambitions for your career or for the next few years?
Yeah, I'd probably hope to play for the A team soon, or soon as possible anyway, so yeah, just there's little goals like that and just need to keep striving every day to achieve them.
Well, it was a successful start to the under-21s for Dire Mabudi. Got his first goal for them in his first appearance on Thursday night against Sweden. But first of all, before the game, we have the national anthems. Well, a proud moment for all these players pulling on the shirt of their national teams for this under-21 fixture. You saw the Wales team flash up on the screen there during their national anthem. The man to look out for in their team is Ruben Colwell. The 20-year-old actually has 8 senior caps for the Welsh side. He's dropped back to under-21 level for these couple of friendlies, but he has plenty of experience for the senior side as the players shake hands and get ready for this game as well. If we take a look at the Scotland team as well, Scott Gemmell has run the changes from the game on Thursday night, and there's a change of formation as well. They will play with a 3 at the back in this game. Of course, it is something that Steve Clarke has been doing successfully for the senior side as well, so it'll be something that will be tested out by Scott Gemmell in this side as in this game, as the players get ready to set up for this match. Alongside me is a man who has plenty of experience in Scotland Youth Internationals, Mark Wilson. Mark, what can this type of game do for these players? How big an opportunity? How good is this experience?
Well, it's a great experience to be involved in. Taking a week or so, having a training camp, warm weather training camp is always welcome at this time of year, and the experience the guys would have got from the game against Sweden would be fantastic. It was an entertaining game that evening, and as you say there, Scott Gemmell running the changes, experimental squad. Really looking forward to seeing what some of the young players experiencing this for the first time have got to offer this afternoon.
Well, the captains there, the captain for Scotland is Liam Morrison, the Bayern Munich centre-back. It's just his second under-21 appearance. He was one of a good few players who made their under-21 debut in that 3-2 defeat to Sweden during the week, and you know that just shows that it is an inexperienced squad at this level, but it's a young squad and a squad full of promise, Mark.
It certainly is, and the manager Scott Gemmell's doing exactly the right thing when you've got such a big qualifying campaign coming up in the next couple of months. Well, he has to see what's out there on offer, and can he make this squad as strong and as competitive as possible going into that qualifying campaign. And these are the right games to test it out. So plenty of experience in there, also along with some of the younger ones coming up to trial this for the first time. And we're just about to get underway.
Yeah, interested to see how this under-21 side get on, especially because it looks to be a change of formation for Scott Gemmell. Quite often plays 4 at the back, 4-3-3 tends to be his preferred formation, but it looks as if we'll see a 3 at the back. We'll be playing wing backs, Max Johnson and Adam Devine out wide, and it'll be interesting to see how the players get on in this shape.
Well, of course, that's important as well when you've got such a big campaign coming up, to test and trial different formations, different systems, see if the players can fit into that. And as you say, we went with 3 at the back this afternoon, mimicking the first team. Let's hope it works.
There's the captain, Liam Morrison, on the ball, out to Jeremiah Mullen. Two of them started at centre-back together in the game on Thursday, but they are joined by Lewis Nielsen of Hearts in that back 3, as we just mentioned. Morrison, and he's robbed of the ball high up the pitch by Josh Thomas. Ball flicked forward by Eli King, but Liam Morrison will be there to mop things up for Scotland. And one thing that was noticeable in that game, Mark, on Thursday night was how comfortable the defenders were on the ball, happy to take the ball in and look for those passes out from the back.
Well, it's a modern game now. It's a wee bit different when I was at under-21 level, Andrew, where that wasn't the way the game flowed. But when you've got guys like Liam Morrison with the pedigree he's got and the upbringing he's getting across in Germany, well, you'd expect nothing less, and it really is a modern game, and we are getting more and more comfortable with it, and these are the games to try it out and get more comfortable as we go on.
Mullen is looking for the run of Max Johnson, but it's cut out by Wales, but Scotland winning the ball back quickly. Morrison over to Adam Devine. Mullen to Max Johnson. It's well won by Owen Beck, puts it out for a Scotland throw.
Watching the A squad playing yesterday, it was a point that I was looking at, that the wing backs who are used to playing full backs probably for the club side, how they adapt to playing the wing back role. You see Max Johnson there receiving the ball much higher up the pitch, just allowing Owen Beck to get to him quicker, and that's a difference. You know, it'll be the same on the other side. Adam Devine used to playing full back as well. When you play that wee bit higher up the pitch as wing back, then you have to adjust your game slightly. So interesting to see how those two get along this afternoon.
Abdullahi out to Adam Devine, showing his versatility. He's played out on the right and out on the left for Rangers this season, starting out on the left today for Scotland. Morrison clips that one in behind, and he was looking for the run of Max Johnson, but it will go out for a Wales goal kick.
It's a good idea, just poor execution. Max Johnson just holding his run. Liam Morrison well capable of playing that pass. Just gets it a wee bit wrong there, but a good idea. I like that. Everything can't be short, or when you play a couple of short passes, drag Wales in, and then that will allow you to spring your wing backs into the wider areas.
Well, there will be a throw into Wales on this near side. One Beck to take, who is the product of the Liverpool Youth Academy. Flicked round the corner really nicely to Josh Farrell. Eli King. It's forced all the way back.
Matty, get the ball, Matty!
Low. Baker to Owen Beck. Scotland just putting the pressure on Wales here as they look to try and play out from the back. Max Johnson wins it, and Scotland with an opportunity to get forward here. Mabudi. Johnston. Ball back out to Max Johnson. It's a lovely ball round the corner, but it's a good recovery in the end by Owen Beck, and Scotland get throw. I actually think it's gone Wales' way.
It's absolutely terrific though from Max Johnson. He starts it off by pressing. He's brave enough to go inside the pitch, which is usually quite tricky if you're a full-back or wing-back, but he's brave enough to go and press, and he nicks the ball, starts that move off. But just unlucky, just not to get him in behind.
Yeah, smart ball round the corner by Deary Mabudi, just didn't quite come off. Mullen. Johnston goes back to Liam Morrison. Lewis Nielsen making his second appearance for the under-21 side. He was one of the players that didn't feature in Thursday's defeat to Sweden. He gets his chance from the start today. Mullen driving forward from centre back, and he finds Mabudi. Over to Adam Devine. Mulligan to Johnston. That is what these friendlies are for. Mark has been able to test out these formations, get the players comfortable in different systems and different shapes.
Yeah, you know what, I like the look of it early on, only 6 minutes in, but I like the look of it. I think the players have got to grips with it. No doubt Scott would have used the period from Monday evening to work on this, but they all look comfortable. You know, Morrison, Nielsen and Mullen certainly look comfortable in the ball at the back. You know, you just see the wee problem there with Devine because he's a right footer playing the left side, that when he has space to gallop into, he checks back, but there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're keeping the ball. So I think the players are fitting the formation fine at the minute.
Joel Lowe to Baker. Goes back to Joe Lowe, the man who's at Walsall on loan from Bristol City.
Get it, Matty!
Goes all the way back to Eddie Beach. This was a theme of Thursday night's game as well. Scotland putting that pressure on high up the park.
It's good pressing there from the front too. You see Connor Smith pressing the goalkeeper, but making sure he goes one way, which then triggers Mabudi to chase down Baker in the left back position. And that's exactly where you want him. Pressing him high up the pitch, give a throw on the way there and squeeze it again. There we go. Exactly what Scott Gamble would want.
Johnson pass not quite coming off for the Motherwell fullback. It's a decent ball forward as well, but Josh Farrell had strayed offside and the touch wasn't quite there. Scotland starting quickly, getting the ball back in play. Abdullah. midfield by Eli King.
Owen, higher!
Low, Baker. Wales just struggling to find a way out of their own half at the moment. It's due to good play by Scotland.
I was going to say that, Andrew. I think we're set up very, very well. You know, you can see how difficult it is for the Welsh players to pick that pass into the midfield.
Farrell is dropped deep to try and create something. Stevens. King.
Double switching. Nothing through there, double
I think Scott Gemmell will be happy what he's seeing from his players out of possession at the moment. Mabudi putting the pressure on and Scotland winning the ball back. Devine just going back to Kieran Slicker.
Yeah, it's a patient press. Everyone knows what they're doing. Inviting Wales to almost try and fish that in to Josh Farrell on the halfway line, and of course Wee Morrison just there to clean up. And as the campaign goes on, when they face Spain come September, then this is exactly what this team's going to come up against. They're going to have to be patient out of possession and hope that Spain try and feed those little balls in and be ready to intercept and then break. So that's why these training camps and these warm-up games are essential when you've got such a big qualifying campaign ahead.
Well, Devine was looking to be positive there. The ball didn't quite come off as he was going forward towards Connor Smith. Low, assessing his options.
Kingy, bounce, Kingy!
Goes over to Baker. Poor touch in there from Josh Farrell. Scotland get the throw. Johnson to take, who is impressed of late since returning from his loan spell to Motherwell. Now a key feature of Stuart Kettlewell's side.
Well, he's been outstanding. His goal against St Mirren, contender for goal of the season. Whether he meant it or not, I'm not too sure, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, having been in the right back club.
Scored in his Scotland Under-21 debut as well. This is his third appearance. He scored against Iceland in a friendly in November as the ball looked to be played across by Josh Mulligan, but the offside flag did go up. Will be a free kick to Wales.
Nice play from Smith though, getting out his feet there, nice move. Mulligan pops it off to him, he gets his head up, a lovely little chip ball through. Mulligan just didn't hold his run enough, but promising stuff.
Yeah, Connor Smith, one of the more experienced players at Under-21 level. This is his 7th appearance for the 21-year-old. There's Morrison. Smith trying to flick it around the corner, but Wales win it back. King. As well King, but Mullen's there to stop him in his tracks.
It's a plus point about playing a back three. You've got someone like Mullen with that pace at the right side, that when Johnson is beat, Mullen just comes over to make sure he's there to clean up.
Yeah, Jeremiah Mullen, playing his football at Leeds, was actually on the bench for them against Manchester United last month. He plays pretty regularly for their youth side in the Premier League 2. It's an aimless ball forward really from Owen Beck, and Lewis Nielsen just happy to head that back into the hands of Kieran Slicker.
Does well there, because not the easiest to deal with. Slicker starts to come out, balls in the air, bit of wind, striker pressing you. Easy to get those ones wrong. Done it many times myself.
Devine looks forward towards Connor Smith, who actually concedes the throw. He was looking for it himself. Finn Stevens, the Wales captain, to take. Plays his football at Brentford. Gets it back from Hammond. It's over to Baker. Good ball by Caldwell. Here's the run of Stevens. Can he find someone in the middle? It's over the head of Josh Farrell and it's dealt with by Jeremiah Mullen. Max Johnson just happy to get that one as far away from the Scotland box as he can. And Adam Devine winning the free kick.
It's clear to see why Caldwell's got 8 caps behind him. A couple of times early on in the game, a flick round the corner opened everything up, and just there, that pass in behind Adam Devine, terrific vision. It's one we need to watch this afternoon. You mentioned it at the start, Andrew. Abdullahi, Cole McKinnon need to get close to him.
Well, the heat in Spain just means the players are allowed to take a bit of a water break. Not something we're too accustomed to in our normal climate in Scotland.
Certainly not, but definitely needed with the weather here. It's a beautiful day, bit of breeze, but players taking a well-deserved drink. I think Scott Gale, you know, approaching 15 minutes, will be quite pleased how his team's performed out of possession. We seem to have a good shape. We seem to know when to press, the areas we want to force Wales into before we press, which is all good. But just like I was saying there, when that danger man Caldwell gets the ball, when they come up against guys like this going forward, creative players in the Spanish side, then it's about getting big numbers round about them to stop that creativity going the other way.
An opportunity for the Scotland staff just to get their messages across as well, tell the players what they want to see from them as they look to break the deadlock in this game. 15 minutes on the clock in this first half. No real big chances yet from either side. Both teams still sort of feeling this one out so far. There are some notable absentees from this Scotland squad as well from the first game on Thursday night. Josh Doig is one of those. He captained the side on Thursday night, but he's returned to Italy. Of course, a key player for Hellas Verona this season. He's done fantastically well in Serie A. Hayden Hackney, another player who is really good in the English Championship for Middlesbrough, started that game on Thursday night. He's headed back to his club as well. Also Kieran Bowie, the Fulham striker on loan at Northampton, started the game on Thursday, not involved in the squad today. But with those players dropping out, gives a good opportunity for other players to come in, make their mark on this under-21 side. Beach to Luca Hull, just has to check back, finds his goalkeeper. Baker to Joe Lowe. Luca Hull, the Bristol Rovers defender, flips one over the top. It looked a good ball initially. I think there is just too much on it though for Finn Stevens, who was trying to make the run in behind Adam Devine.
Yeah, good idea from the Welsh. You know, not putting everything short into their midfield, looking to turn Scotland backline. Do you think Adam Devine probably had that covered, but the ball just shot on?
Nielsen was challenged in the midfield by Eli King, but Scotland able to get the ball back quickly. It's been an interesting season for Lewis Nielsen. Was a real regular for Hearts in the early stages of the season. Between August and November, really made 5 appearances in the UEFA Europa Conference League. He's fallen a bit out the team of late. Still only 19 years of age though. Mullen fouled as he tried to progress the ball up the park. Max Johnson wanting to take that one quickly, get play going.
Good play there from Mullen. Not scared to take the ball a run, progress into midfield. Ball just under the foot of Dire Mabudi.
allows Matt Baker to come away with it. Hammond to Stevens. It's across to Joe Lowe. Seen a lot of the ball so far, the three central defenders for Wales. It's clipped over the top, it's a really good ball. A chance here for Josh Thomas to try and create something, but just passes it straight to Adam Devine. Mullen forward to Mulligan. Back to Kieran Slicker, one of a few Manchester City players in this Scotland Under-21 squad. Of course, D-Ray Mabudi is one of those, Lewis Fiorini. The two of them both scoring on Thursday night. Fiorini on the bench for this game today.
I've got to say about those goals, sensational goals. I mean, the first one from Mabudi was good. I didn't think we were going to top that. And Fiorini, outstanding volley, showing outstanding technique.
That one set up by Josh Adam, another playing his football in the Manchester City Academy for the elite development squad.
Get a good mix when you look through the squad and the clubs represented and the players out on loan. We have got a good mix, you know, some players at top English Premier League clubs, but then some in our Scottish Premiership as well who are performing week in, week out. It's exactly what you need, I think, to be successful as an under-21 side.
Smith, lovely turn from Smith, finds Mabudi, just knocks the ball past. Great pace by Mabudi, and he wins a corner. He's just showing the danger he can cause, Mabudi, with that speed.
Oh, he does brilliant there. Because initially I thought Baker was favourite to get there. Mabudi just clips it round him. I actually thought he was getting closer and closer to the touchline. He may have ran it out. Just shows how quick he is. Does terrific to get a corner. Good chance this for us.
Connor Smith to take. Goes towards the back post. Morrison competing for it, and there was the strike from Cole McKinnon. Didn't quite catch it properly.
Thought we were in for another Fiorini there from a corner kick. Comes to the edge. Cole McKinnon in a good position. Just didn't quite catch it clean enough.
Looking for his first under-21 goal. He does have 3 this season for Partick Thistle. He's on loan from Rangers. Mabudi. Johnston. Josh Mulligan. Does well to get the cross in, Mulligan. There's Devine. The touch is too heavy from Connor Smith, who's unable to win it back as well. Possibly will provide Wales a chance to create something of their own, but once again Scotland pressing really well, forcing Wales back towards their centre backs.
That was a decent opportunity there we had. Thought when it fell to Adam Devine, he does well. He's on his right foot. Probably the plus side of playing a right footer in that position that he's coming in. He picks a good pass. Connor Smith just couldn't sort his feet out in time.
It's a nice turn by Caldwell. Looks for the ball towards Ollie Hammond, but it's too close to Kieran Slicker, who'll gather.
Good positioning from Kieran Slicker, because if he's rooted to his goal line there, I don't think he's getting there, and I think it's Josh Thomas maybe would have been favourite for that. A good pick out from Caldwell, but Kieran Slicker ready, taking his position from about the penalty spot there.
Ruben Caldwell was actually part of Wales' World Cup squad for Qatar last year. Came off the bench in their group game against England. So it shows some of the quality that Wales have in this squad. Flip forward, Adam Devine just unable to get it under his control. Thomas goes back to Stevens and then all the way back to Luca Hull. There may be a bit of frustration from Wales that they're unable to progress the ball when they've got it, passing it around the back three. Forced to go long. Scott Game will be happy that they're forcing Wales to do that.
As I said earlier, Andrew, that's obviously something that the Scotland side have worked on, allowing the three centre-backs to have possession, no real urgency to go and press, and forcing them to go long because they know they have the pace of Mullen, Nielsen and Morrison at the back to cover it up.
The players are certainly going to be hydrated.
Yeah. It was only 10 minutes ago they had that drink, so an important side of the game.
Yeah, I think it just does show the heat in Pinatar, and of course it is a friendly match as well, so no issues with these stoppages.
It's more for the referees and his assistants. They look like they're needing it more than the players.
A lovely setting as well in Pinatar. It's somewhere that the Scotland youth national teams have visited before. Played a couple of games in this camp. The players have been out there certainly enjoying themselves as well. We saw the VT, the interview before with T-Ray Mabudi, who looks as if it's been a real valuable trip for him and all these players.
Oh, without doubt. Absolute fantastic setting, beautiful weather, allows you to spend a wee bit more time on the training ground. But these get-togethers, these friendly matches, these camps when you go away are essential for a squad to bond, especially at this young formative age where a lot of players are coming in unknown who perhaps don't know each other, and they get to spend a full week in each other's company. I'll keep going back to it when you've got a European qualifying campaign coming around the corner in September. Then it's important once you get to that stage that the full squad knows each other inside out, so they're absolutely invaluable to have, and I think we've made full use of it. Scott Gemmell obviously calling up some players that maybe represented the under-19s and giving them a go and seeing what they're really made of, coming up against more experienced players like Ruben Colwell today, you mentioned, in the World Cup. Fantastic experience for these young guys to get a shot at players like that, so going well so far.
Yeah, these Scotland players looking to catch the eye ahead of the Euro qualifiers later this year. Some big opposition as well in Scotland's group, the likes of Spain, Belgium, Hungary and Malta also in that group alongside Kazakhstan. So plenty of challenges for this under-21 side ahead.
The easiest draw, was it, Andrew? I think it could have been a bit kinder to us. Spain and Belgium in there. I've had my games against Hungary in the past at this level. Funny enough, an incredibly difficult place to go to. So the young Scots know what they'll be facing.
The Welsh under-21 side have been in action already in this international break as well. They had a 2-0 win over Colombia's youth side. Max Johnston to take the throw in. Azim Abdullahi, the turn goes back to Morrison.
Sure, for Scotland, Abdullahi, Cole McKinnon would, be a bit frustrated 25, 26 minutes in that they haven't been involved enough. Abdullahi, you can see making all the right angles to try and get the ball, but we need to find them.
Colwell. Back to Stevens. Jeremiah Mullen in the right position in the box to head it away. There's Josh Mulligan. Does win the free kick, Josh Mulligan.
Good play from Mulligan there. Powerful runner from midfield. Just showing that he's comfortable taking the ball there in tight areas, try to wriggle away.
Plenty of experience at the age of 20, Josh Mulligan. He's already made over 50 appearances for Dundee, had loan spells at Peterhead, Cove, Rangers as well.
Try to stein him, Andrew. My brief stint as Brecon manager on loan, and it just didn't get through. But well aware of his talents early on, good couple of years ago. Terrific young player.
Stevens goes all the way back to Eddie Beach. Low to Colwell. On the turn, plays it forward towards Josh Farrell. Cuts inside. Will he get a shot away? Josh Farrell, he will. It's saved by Kieran Slicker, but the ball will go over the line. It's a goal for Wales. They've got the opener, and it's Josh Farrell who's scored it. It was messy in the end. Kieran Slicker tried his best, but just couldn't keep it out.
Hugely disappointing. But you just see the importance of Ruben Caldwell getting the ball in the half turn comfortably. He plays a lovely ball down the channel. Josh Farrell initially cuts inside Mullen. He gets the shot away. I thought Slicker had done enough. But I don't know if it's Josh Farrell, is it Josh Thomas that gets the final touch? Maybe it went over the line. Disappointing to lose a goal just before the half-hour mark. Something out of nothing, really.
Yeah, well, Ruben Caldwell showing his quality in the lead up to that goal. It was a good ball through to Josh Farrell, and I'm sure he'll be claiming it, but I think Josh Thomas will also be claiming it. Maybe got a touch on the line as well. But either way, it is a goal. Wales have the lead here in Pinatar against Scotland.
I was just saying, Andrew, though, the importance of our young players coming up against someone more experienced than Ruben Caldwell, and what they're going to experience going forward through this campaign when they come up against similar quality. That if you give these players Caldwell's ability and experience, you know, that space, that extra little 5 yards, he will turn and he will look forward. Now, if you've got willing runners ahead, he is able to pick them out. So this is what these matches, these friendly matches are all about. Getting experience, realising that you need to be touch tight on these players when there's so much quality.
Ball towards Josh Farrell is just overhit. But when we look at this Scotland side, there are a lot of young players that are getting their first taste of under-21 football, players that will still be eligible for the under-21s for a couple of years to come. Mabudi fouled there, will be a free kick to Scotland.
Well, it's another little test for our players. One behind. You know, how do they react to that? Are they brave enough to still play the way they've been playing, the way that they've been instructed by Scott Gemmell? Or it's quite often, we've seen it, even when you go up the levels, that teams, as soon as they lose a goal, they lose their heads a bit and they start playing the way that the players want to play. It's important we stick to the game plan.
It was well won by Ollie Hammond in midfield there. It's allowed Wales to go forward. Farrell cutting inside as he did moments ago for the Wales goal. Scotland deal with it this time. Connor Smith making a nuisance of himself, but judged to have fouled Joe Lowe at the back.
It's good pressing from Connor Smith. Could have done with someone else, maybe Mabudi up a wee bit closer to him, making up the ground a wee bit quicker.
Well, he is in good form at club level, Connor Smith. Joined Hamilton on loan in January, 3 goals in 7 games. Hull, Finn Stevens. Big thing is how the Scotland players react to going a goal down.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's just been a little lull for the last couple of minutes from the Scotland players. You know, just a bit standoffish, and it's always dangerous doing that.
Baker to Lowe. Luca Hull. He's the captain, Finn Stevens. Here he is again, and so the ball forward towards Caldwell, who battles well against Liam Morrison, cuts it back into a crowded box. Finn Stevens did get the shot away, but Scotland had the numbers to deal with it.
I think Morrison thought it was just going to run out, and he tries to protect it, but the ball just held up. Caldwell didn't give up on it. Little step over, but Scotland had enough bodies in that area just to block it out. But this is a crucial period in the game for us now, Andrew, that we don't start retreating and giving the Welsh too much space. You can see what that goal's done for their side. Everybody's wanting on the ball, everybody's looking to get involved now.
Switchy.
Wales just happy to retain possession at the moment.
Love it.
Eli King goes back to Luca Hull.
Stand still, Ruben.
Hear the instructions as well from the two coaches. There was an offside there. Josh Thomas just straying beyond. Abdullahi. Nielsen sprays one out. It's just not got enough on it. Owen Beck able to head it out of play. See again, this was good play by Ruben Caldwell, but Adam Devine got in there, and a mix of a few Scotland players, Morrison and Devine, who blocked the shot initially.
I think it was Adam Devine twice here. It's an important part of a game when you're playing wing back, to get in one box, but also to not neglect your defensive duties. He does well there to block out the shot.
Josh.
Caldwell finds Ollie Hammond. Stevens goes for the early cross. Isn't able to find a white shirt in there.
I think as the game's wearing on, you can clearly see that the Welsh midfield three, and Caldwell at the tip of that, are certainly getting the lion's share of possession in the middle of the pitch. You know, Abdullahi, Mulligan and Cole McKinnon starve the possession. I'd like to see them get on the ball a lot more than they have been doing at the minute.
Stand up, Josh.
It's a good play by Mullen. Badoudi trying to flick it over the head of Owen Beck. I think he stood on his foot there as he tried to get past. Morrison just a bit frustrated he wasn't able to keep that one in play. He hasn't pressed those at his club Bayern Munich though. Signed a new contract a few weeks ago through to the summer of 2025. Has been playing for their second side to compete in the fourth tier of German football. 12 appearances this season. Got a goal to his name as well.
It's brilliant to see that our young players, you know, doing well on the continent. Such a prestigious club. You think of the youth products that Bayern's brought throughout the years, and there's one of our boys matching them in every way.
He's not the only one as well. Barry Hepburn, young Scottish winger, is at Bayern Munich as well. Was playing for Scotland's under-19s towards the end of last year. Both players joining from Celtic at a young age. Nielsen looks towards Connor Smith. It's a good ball as well, and Smith holding it up, just unable to find Adam Devine with a pass. Nielsen gets it back, goes over the top once again, this time unable to find Josh Mulligan, who was advancing into the box.
I think the first ball from Nielsen's a good one. He recognises again that not everything has to be short. They can turn and go in behind, especially with Connor Smith's pace. It's a good run. The second one is a hard one to play for Nielsen because he's at 15 to 20 yards further up the pitch. Space in behind's limited. That's the one he needs to just keep short to get into a striker.
Chance here for Josh Thomas. It's Ollie Hammond, and he curls one, and at the back post was Ruben Caldwell. He keeps it in play, and Max Johnson just has to deal with that one, put it out for a corner. More danger from Wales there.
Well, we're just caught wide open there. One ball round the corner. Adam Devine and Lewis Nielsen caught out. You know, all three centre backs retreating towards their goal. Caldwell just can't turn it towards goal. Johnson does well just to turn it behind.
Scotland have a corner to deal with now. Towards the back post, but it's well held by Kieran Slicker.
It does terrific there. That's a tough one to take. How many times do we see goalkeepers choosing just to punch that? And it often falls to someone at the edge of the box, but Slicker confident enough to get up and catch that there.
He's got good competition. Kieran Slicker in this under-21 side. Murray Johnson, who really impressed for the under-19s towards the end of last year, and also at an emergency loan spell at Airdrie at the start of the campaign, where he made 5 appearances, only conceded twice, 3 clean sheets in that as well, just 18 years old. And also Jack Newman, who has made a couple of appearances for Dundee United recently. Goalkeeping position has been a hot topic for Scotland recently. Angus Gunn, of course, making his Scotland debut yesterday, keeping a clean sheet for the senior side in that 3-0 win over Cyprus. A successful start to the Euro 2024 qualification campaign.
Yeah, he'll be pleased with that. Such an important position for the A squad. Didn't have much to do, but anything he did it quite well.
The senior side, of course, hosting Spain on Tuesday night. The under-21s will be playing Spain in their own qualification group later on this year. Ball played round the back, and Josh Thomas gets away from Liam Morrison. He's not got much in the way of support, and it's Lewis Nielsen who's back there to put it out for a corner.
Well done, Lewis Nielsen. Makes up the ground really quick, recognises that his skipper Morrison's under a wee bit of pressure from the pace of Josh Thomas. He's just trying to feed that across Thomas, across the 6-yard line, but Nielsen does well to recover.
Yeah, came through the youth academy at Dundee United, Lewis Nielsen, before making the move to Hearts last summer. 19 appearances he made for Dundee United before heading to Tynecastle.
Yeah, United had high hopes for him. Just obviously didn't offer them the right contract, unfortunately for them.
Ball goes into the front post, and it goes all the way through. And Wales have a second, and I think it was a flick-on header at the front post, and it goes past Kieran Slicker. I think it was Luca Houle that got the final touch for Wales. They've doubled their lead in Pinatar.
Well, this one will disappoint Scott Gamble, because it's as basic as they come. Corner kick, Max Johnson in that front post area, just on the 6-yard line. That's where you want your defender to be, to head that away. But Luca Houle, or was it Joe Lowe perhaps, getting across, getting in front of Max Johnson, just diverting it in.
Yeah, I think it was Joe Lowe that got the final touch. He has seen a lot of the ball so far, the man that's playing as the central centre-back in the 3 for Wales. He's arriving at the front post, got the vital touch. And a good time to score for Wales as well, with just 5 minutes left of this first half.
Just shows the importance of that front post position. I mean, we see it, you know, from the top levels of the game. Every team will put a player in that position, and you have to be in the half turn, Andrew, to see what's coming. So a couple of problems, whoever's matching. Joe Lowe has to do better at blocking them, but if he doesn't do that, that's where Max Johnson should come in and just clear that away. Disappointing goal to lose. Set pieces at this level are so crucial.
Paul McKinnon not giving that one up. It's headed forward by Ollie Hammond, but Abelai finds Connor Smith, who's fouled there. Surely will be a free kick to Scotland in a dangerous position.
Yeah, he manages to wriggle clear there. Good footwork. Nips it round one defender, takes it from the other. Pretty clear that that's a free kick. Still on the ground, hopefully he's okay. But look, an opportunity for us to try and test Ed Beach in goal, who's hardly had a touch of the ball. We've hardly seen anything of him. I think that'll be a thing that disappoints Scott Gamble, that with all the promise of those attacking players we have there, we've never really tested the goalkeeper.
Deary Maboudi standing over it. Cole McKinnon there as well. All 3 central defenders up for this one as well.
You would have a go here, surely. Short run up.
He scored a cracker on Thursday night, Deary Maboudi. Does he fancy a chance at another here? So he goes short to Abdulai, who clips it in towards the back post. There's Jeremiah Mullen. It looked to be one off the training ground from Scotland, but the header across from Jeremiah Mullen wasn't able to find anyone, and luckily for Scotland, the touch from Josh Thomas was too heavy there.
Yeah, it looked like one he had worked on. Just didn't quite get that final ball right. a decent idea. And Josh Mullen round the back. Ball just had to be a wee bit better, hung up a wee bit more. I would have liked to have seen Moody just have a go from there. Like I was saying, we've not tested Beach, the Welsh goal. You're maybe 20, 22 yards out on the angle. Difficult angle, right enough, but have a go. Test the goalkeeper.
Stay away from the ball.
Jeremiah Mullen was a regular at under-19 level as well. Made 5 appearances for them before making a step up. Still only 18 years old. He's a young player at this under-21 level. Abdullahi has gone down holding his head, but the free kick has gone against Scotland. Interesting story, his development. Azim Abdullahi, who came through the academy at Celtic, was released at the age of 16. He'd been a ball boy there as well, and during lockdown and COVID struggled to find a club, had trials, went to Brentford, Wimbledon, ended up getting a 6-month deal with Leicester, and that really kicked on his career. Now at Swansea, made his debut for them in the EFL Cup as a substitute against Oxford.
That's a great story. You know, just showing the determination of the boy not to give up when he's faced with rejection. I think that's an important part of a player's development. What young aspiring footballers can look up to that.
There's a big move for him to go down to England. Josh Mulligan just pulled back for a foul there.
Ruben, Matty could do that, a little bit higher. I'll do.
Well, it looks as if Wales will go into half-time with a 2-goal lead in this game. Scott Gemmell will be hoping Scotland can show a bit more in the final third in the second half, but Wales will look to see if they can get a third before the break. Adam Devine deals with that one.
Again, it's Colwell there, just getting 5 yards of space, getting out his feet, using his ability to pick out the big diagonal to Finn Stevens.
It's a nice turn there by Josh Thomas to keep possession. Here is again Thomas, but Scotland end up winning the free kick. Take it quickly, Abdullahi. Just bypasses Dire Mabudi. Maybe hasn't seen as much of the ball as he would have liked so far in this game. He's dropping deep to win that back, and Josh Mulligan does just that. Abdullahi. Lovely ball towards Cole McKinnon. Really good shape on it. Pick out his midfield partner. It's back to Abdullahi. And there will just be a bit of added time in this first half because we have had a couple of water breaks in the heat of Pinatar. Liam Morrison looking to play that one out to the left, but didn't quite get it right.
I think that's a big difference between the two sides. Sahar swore on that in possession, Wales probably, definitely should I say, more productive. No, Scotland frustrated them in the early period with their shape, but they found a way. We're just getting a wee bit desperate with balls like that from Liam Morrison. We just need to have that wee bit more quality to trouble the Welsh defence.
Eddie Beach to take the goal kick. And that will be half-time. The whistle blows and Wales have the advantage after the opening 45 minutes. It has been an interesting game so far. Scotland, of course, trying this 3 at the back, which isn't too familiar for a lot of these under-21 players, a lot of these young under-21 players as well, who this will be a good experience for. But Wales have the advantage at the break. The opening goal, I think both Joshes up front for Wales will be claiming it. Josh Farrell with the good early work. It looked as if it may have been touched over the line by Josh Thomas. And then Joe Lowe, the central defender, getting in at the front post, just flicking that one beyond Kieran Slicker. What do you think Scott Gemmell will have taken from that first half mark?
Well, I think for the majority of Scotland looked okay in terms of shape, in terms of pressing. They looked like they had an idea where they wanted to force Wales in the corners they wanted to direct them into. But then just with that wee bit of quality, players like Ruben Colwell, if you give them an inch, they will pick cutting passes, and they certainly made good use of it. But in possession, maybe need to be a wee bit sharper, a wee bit better. But as you said, Andrew, this is experimental. Never usually play with a back three, so there's plenty of positives in there. Just need to be a wee bit sharper when we're in possession.
As we just see some of the action from this first half, there hasn't been too many clear-cut chances, as I think you can see from this highlight package that's been put together so far. Scotland, it was a nice ball by Connor Smith there. Josh Mulligan was just scuppered by Matt Baker.
I think you can see how these training camps and these get-togethers are useful when you have the time to work in a back three. If you're going to play a back three, then it takes time. This is the first time, and you can see there's some confusion from Liam Morrison and times that Jeremiah Mullen and Lewis Nielsen, that just tracking runners and how high they hold their line has been a bit of an issue, and that's of course where Wales got their goal from. But it will get better as time passes by, and the more that this team plays that formation. But again, I said it during commentary that our midfield, I feel, has to be more involved than they have been. I think Cole McKinnon, Abdullah and Josh Mulligan will come off a frustrated trio. They've been starved of possession when you compare them to that Wales 3, and that's where Wales have got their quality from.
Well, here was the opening goal. It was the ball through from Ruben Colwell, and Josh Farrell cutting inside, got the shot away, just bounced up. I think it may well go down as a Josh Farrell goal. He actually plays his club football in Spain, Josh Farrell. But Wales tried to capitalise on that goal. They wanted to apply pressure and try and get a second goal. It did come from a set piece. This was good work by Ruben Colwell. We talked earlier on about his experience. Certainly the player on the pitch with the most international experience out of both the sides. Went to the World Cup, 8 senior international caps as well. His quality has shown in this game.
Yeah, you can clearly see what that experience has done for Colwell, that he looks extremely confident in possession, but the quality he's got is there to match it, and it's good for our young Scottish players to come up against that. Again, I said during the first half that that's what these Scotland players are going to have to get used to. Players with extreme quality in the middle of the pitch, the creativity that they possess. The pace of Josh Farrell and Josh Thomas up front for Wales has caused problems sometimes. That's where they got the goal from. This one was nearly a carbon copy of it, but good defending from Lewis Nielsen.
Well, here was the second goal. It was Joe Lowe at the front post flicking that header on. Just managed to find himself the space at the front post. That is the goal. That means Wales have a 2-goal advantage after the opening 45 minutes of this game. Certainly they'll be the happier side out of the two after that, but still 45 minutes to go, and of course this is a friendly match. It's an experience that these players will learn from, they'll grow from as well. That is the half-time score. It is Wales Under-21s 2, Scotland Under-21s 0. Of course, for the senior side yesterday, it was a 3-0 win at Hampden against Cyprus to kick off the Euro 2024 qualification campaign. There was a debut in goal for Angus Gunn. The Scottish FA have been catching up with him in life in the Scotland camp.
Angus, congratulations on your call-up and welcome to Hampden. How does it feel now that you're here in the stadium?
Yeah, no, I think when I walked out earlier, it was a great sight and yeah, beautiful to see. But I think it'll be even nicer when it's full at the weekend and Tuesday night.
Just take us back to those sort of initial conversations that you had with Steve Clarke. Now, obviously, the squad was announced just a week or so ago, but what did the manager have to say to you in the build-up to that?
Yeah, I think it was a couple of months ago now, and I think he just wanted to come down and have a conversation. You know, it was pretty chilled, to be honest, and had a good chat about football in general first, and then obviously went on to Scotland and just told me about the group and how positive it is. Which I've already heard from people like Kenny and Grant, at the club. So you know, I already knew that, and yeah, he just sort of laid it out to me and said that he wanted me to come and be involved, and you know, saw a good future for me at Scotland. And I didn't tell him straight away, but I knew straight away in my own mind that it's something that I wanted to do. And I think I called him the next day and to let him know. And yeah, no, ever since then I've been excited and looking forward to this moment.
You said there it was kind of something that you knew inside you when you knew that there was that sort of initial interest there. You kind of knew. Was it something that had been on your mind for a while?
To be honest, yeah, I think probably more so when I started playing regularly at Norwich. I think it's something that's sort of been there for the last 4 or 5 years in the back of my mind, but in myself I didn't really feel like I could justify getting picked for a national team when I wasn't playing regular football. So I think when I started playing regularly at Norwich, you know, it's something that I started thinking about and that I wanted to do to sort of further my career and you know, push myself even more. So it was more then when I started thinking about it, and then obviously the conversation happened, and you know, it's something that I jumped at straight away. Kenny and Grant have spoke to me a lot about it, and you know, in the past, and always sort of pushing me to come over. But yeah, I think when they found out, they were delighted, and hopefully you know, we can all have a successful time.
Just in terms of your family, we got a real sense in the last week or so just how proud they are that you're going to be representing Scotland. How has it been seeing and hearing their reactions? Yeah,
I mean, you know, obviously, you know, for a player, it's something that you want is to make your family proud, and yeah, to see that kind of reaction from them, and you know, obviously my Scottish side of my family have you know, all been asking for tickets for the games and stuff like that. So yeah, I think for me that was you know, a big thing, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing them all here, and yeah, hopefully making them all really proud.
We're all aware of your dad Brian as well, who's a former Scotland international. Just how much of an influence has your dad been on you?
Yeah, I think, you know, just generally, you know, as a parent at the start was always there. I think he finished his career pretty early when I was probably a few years after I was born, so he was always you know, able to be there when I was growing up playing football, and you know, used to take me down to Norwich Academy when I was younger and watch every game. So I think originally I wanted to play outfield when I was probably 5 or 6, and then I went to trial at Norwich and somehow ended up in goal, and I think ever since then he's sort of, you know, pushed me to go for it, and yeah, hopefully I can, you know, make them all proud.
So we're looking at 2 full houses here at Hampden as well, and potentially, you know, the prospect of running out in front of all those Scotland fans. How does that feel sitting here ahead of that in this empty stadium? Have you had a chance to think about that?
Yeah, I think you know, ever since everything's happened, it's probably something that I've thought about the most, to be honest. And you know, hopefully I can have a good training week, and you know, if selected to walk out at a full house here, and you know, to hear the national anthem, I think will be you know, putting the hairs on my neck up. And yeah, I think, you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, the atmosphere, but I think, you know, the most important thing is focusing on the game and, you know, getting the 3 points.
The famous Scotland goalkeeper Brian Gunn teaching his son how to play football, and in particular how to save goals.
But Luke ticked him as a natural.
He's a natural.
Well, good to hear from Angus Gunn there after his Scotland debut. The senior side, of course, beating Cyprus 3-0 in that Euro 2024 qualifier at Hampden yesterday. The Scotland Under-21 side find themselves 2 goals down to Wales Under-21 side in Pinatar. This just a friendly match. It has been a good camp for these players to get in. They've been here since last Monday, so plenty of time for Scott Gemmell to get his players together and just get a good bit of experience in this side, getting together and just getting to know each other as well, for there are a lot of young players in this squad, Mark Wilson, that, you know, haven't played at this level before, maybe haven't played with a lot of the other players that are in this team as well.
Yeah, like going on past experience from when I was there, I certainly noticed a difference, Andrew, from when I was stepping up the age brackets, when I was in the under-19s, and then I made the step up to 21s and trying to get to know some of those more senior players who were playing first team football at that time, and trying to get to know the squad and the patterns of what they did. So it's never easy. I think from people from the outside automatically assume that progression is easy for a young player. It certainly isn't, and that's why training camps like we're seeing here in Spain from Scott Gemmell's under-21 side are essential to really bringing those players into the fold. Giving them game time is important as well, giving them game time against quality opposition, like we saw on Thursday night against Sweden, but today against a Welsh side who certainly know what they're doing and certainly experience in terms of Ruben Caldwell, who you can't really buy that experience when you're coming up against a player who's played at the biggest stage. So these young players will learn from it. They will go away from this week feeling more comfortable about their surroundings, and the next time they meet up, then it will look a whole lot better.
Yeah, Scott Gemmell will get to know how these players handle the step up, as you say. I think 5 of this squad competed for the under-19s towards the end of last year, where they had a triple header in qualification. One of those was Dire Mabudi, and he's maybe not been involved in this game as much as he would have liked, but he certainly showed in the last game that he stepped up really well from under-19 level, and it's something that he really has taken in his stride, because he was in the under-18s at Manchester City last season. He was their player of the year. They won the title. 12 goals, 17 assists he got. He's then moved up to their under-21 side in the Premier League 2 this season. 10 goals, 12 assists. He's really taken it in his stride. We saw him get a goal as well in his under-21 debut, and he is one of the exciting prospects that's coming through in this Scotland side.
He certainly is. He looks a terrific talent, and I know we've only seen glimpses of him in this opening 45 minutes against Wales here, but even see the one in the touchline, he knows exactly what he's doing, you know, luring the defender in to use his speed to go past him. But he's had a terrific upbringing. His brother's obviously involved at a very good level as well, so a good footballing family. He was saying pre-match there, we saw the VT of him saying that his younger brother also plays as well, so maybe that's another one to expect. But I think he's one that's got a big future, and again, what these training camps are for, Scott Gemmell to, you know, put Dire Mabudi into the fold and see what he can produce, and he can be certainly proud of what he's produced so far.
He also talked about the fact in the interview that we saw before this game that he was a bit disappointed that he wasn't able to play with Ben Doak in this camp. Of course, the two of them playing at top English Premier League sides, Manchester City and Liverpool. Unfortunately, Ben Doak not able to make this squad because he took a head knock. Was the correct decision from all involved, from Scotland and Liverpool and Ben Doak, just to set him out of this camp to do with concussion protocol. But he's another player that certainly stepped up at under-21 level when he's been called upon. Another real exciting prospect, another real exciting winger for Scotland.
Well, he's the outstanding talent in the country, you know, and a lot of people talking about Ben Doak. Well, we saw a brief glimpse of him in Scotland before he chose to head south, but he's taken that in his stride, going to such a big club like Liverpool, and then when he's representing Scotland, been absolutely excellent. And I think that's what we've got to remember about this camp as well, that crucial players are missing who will come into the fold when it comes to the Europe qualifying campaign. So you know, a lot to be positive about, a lot of experience given to the ones who maybe wouldn't have got a chance, but give Scott Gemmell a first glimpse, even on the, not even in the 90 minutes, but on the training pitch, of what these players can bring to the squad going forward.
Well, the players just making their way out of the tunnel and back onto the pitch for the second half. Scott Gemmell, of course, has plenty of quality on the bench to turn to as well. We'll wait and see whether there are any changes ahead of this second half, but that is one important thing, that in these friendly matches that he's able to give plenty of players game time, and those players that are currently sitting on the bench will be looking forward to hopefully getting some experience out there today.
I think so. I think when you've got two games in such close proximity to each other, then it's important that you utilise the full squad, and Scott's obviously going to do that at the minute, making a change. But over the two games, I think as long as you see enough of everyone, and everyone obviously deserves some game time, been away a week, so important to use everyone available to the manager.
Yeah, there's certainly going to be at least one change for Scotland. I think it looks as if there's going to be two. Certainly Ben Summers, the young Celtic player, 18 years of age, he started the game on Thursday night. He's stripped and ready to come on, and I think Lewis Fiorini is also going to come on as well, and there is going to be a change in goal as well. Looks as if Kieran Slicker will be making way, and there will be an under-21 debut for 18-year-old Hibs goalkeeper Murray Johnson, who was one of the players that really impressed in that under-19 squad towards the end of last year. Diri Mabudi was in there as well. He was one of the players. Josh Adam, who is on the bench for Scotland today, another player who looked really good across those 3 games. But another step in Murray Johnson's career, making his under-21 debut. And as I say, Lewis Fiorini, the Manchester City midfielder, coming on, as well as Ben Summers. So Scott Gemmell deciding that he wants to make a change, and these players will be looking to make an impact in this second 45 minutes.
Yeah, looking forward to certainly seeing the 3 that's came on. Lewis Fiorini scoring a terrific goal there the other night. Ben Summers, a lot of talk about him. Young player who's been well spoke about in the past. So we've got 45 minutes here, good opportunity to bring Scotland back into this game. See Ben Summers going right up top there alongside Diri Mabudi. Maybe a change of shape as well.
Yeah, it looks as if Lewis Fiorini and Ben Summers will be in support of Diri Mabudi up front. Connor Smith, one of the players to make way for Scotland at half-time.
Come on, boys, come on! Move! Move!
Cole McKinnon, the other player to make way. Those are 3 changes for Scotland.
Yeah, interesting to see, Andrew, that the shape also changes with that. I wonder if that was always the plan from Scott Gemmell, and that wouldn't be unusual for managers to try one shape out in the first 45 minutes. Maybe it didn't work quite as well as he would like to, but looks like he's going to his tried and trusted, the one he always goes to. Fiorini one side, Ben Summers the other, Mabudi through the middle. Looks already, I know we're only a minute and a half in, but already looks a shape that's better suited to these players. You can already see how closely Fiorini and Summers are going to play to Mabudi. Both strikers a wee bit isolated in the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, no natural number 9 on the pitch for Scotland so far in this game. Kieran Bowie, who played in that role on Thursday night, has gone back to his club. And there is Tom Dixon-Peters on the bench as well, who may well get a run out. He came off the bench in that defeat to Sweden. Devine to take the throw. Here's Fiorini, looked for the first time ball, but he actually wins it back. Fiorini does well, looking lively in the opening stages of this second half. Here he is again. Johnson to Summers. Mulligan goes back to Lewis Nielsen. Devine trying to get past Finn Stevens there, but stopped in his tracks.
I like that from Devine though. Gets the ball, he's up against Stevens, he looks to go past him. Doesn't quite get there though.
Thomas. 3 Scotland players around him. The pressure's enough to put him off.
I think the problem is if they go to a 3-4-3, I think defensively then you give up that one in midfield. And obviously Ruben Colwell dictated much of the first period, so we just need to be aware that Fiorini or Summers has to maybe drop in to pick him up if he's the deeper line one in the midfield, try to dictate play.
Certainly valuable game time for Lewis Fiorini as well. He went on loan to Blackpool from Manchester City at the start of this season. Actually had a good start to the campaign, but has been halted by a groin injury, just getting back into things now. We saw the quality he's capable of with that volley on Thursday. The ball drops to Ruben Colwell, and that one just going wide of Murray Johnson's goal.
love that, you! Well done!
Having to make a move, but that one just drifting past his left post.
I say, I thought it was in Andrew. He just tries to guide that inside the post there. Just inches past Scotland again. Got a wee bit cold, the ball in behind Devine. He didn't have Lewis Nielsen over covering, so it was a foot race between him and Stevens. Stevens does well to pick out Colwell. The big midfielder unlucky with the effort. Just a warning sign again.
Jeremiah Mullen trying to find Dire Mabudi, but the ball goes all the way through. It's a nice touch inside by Finn Stevens. The ball clear forward to Josh Thomas. Here's Ollie Hammond. Abdullahi quite believe that the free kick's been given against him.
Get you the ball, Matty.
No, I'm with him there. Okay. So Abdullahi, good pressure. Looks to nick it there. Maybe at the end. Maybe at the end he just used his body a bit too much.
And Wales get a third. It's Josh Thomas on the score sheet. And it's not been Scotland's day so far. Ball came through to Ruben Colwell. A lovely ball across the face of goal with the outside of his boot. And there was Josh Thomas to stroke it home. But once again, it's the quality of Ruben Colwell that's opened Scotland up.
Well, how disappointing is that? Just at the start of the second half. Different personnel on, different shape, but we're caught cold again. I think it might be Josh Mulligan who doesn't track Ruben Colwell, but you can see the quality. Colwell just looks up outside of the boot, plays it across.
Good free kick, mate.
Thomas is there to put it away.
Switches on again.
So hugely disappointing. Young players need to pick themselves up here, shake themselves down, go at it again. But it just shows the importance of runners, matching runners. You can see Colwell willing to go in behind the strikers, and Mulligan just switches off for a second. That's experience that you will get from playing against players such as Colwell this afternoon.
Yeah, big test of character for these Scotland players now, because Scott Gemmell will be keen to make sure their heads don't go down, that they keep on trying to play their football and work their way back into this game. There will be a level of frustration though.
I think the frustration for Scott Gemmell when he probably sits down and analyses the goals that we've lost this afternoon is just the sheer simplicity of them. You know, the first one, a run in behind and a long ball, we were caught cold. The second one, a set piece that seemed pretty simple to defend against, and then that third one, right at the start of the second half, where you're looking for players to match runners and, you know, take Wales the other way, we just switch off. So real simple goals that we've lost this afternoon.
We did say it is a new system for the Scotland under-21 side, so there will sometimes be teething issues when a new system is being tried out. Fiorini looked for the ball over the top, and Dire Mabudi wasn't far away from getting a foot on it.
It was almost outstanding there. You could just see Fiorini's quality right away. He's always looking forward. He almost gets it inch perfect. And Mabudi just playing off the shoulder. Joe Lowe there almost gets a touch in it. So unlucky.
He's a real creative force, Lewis Fiorini. Goal scorer as well. He's got 2 in 6 Scotland under-21 caps. First of those came in November 2021 against Kazakhstan. Of course, that special strike right at the end of Thursday night's game. Morrison to Nielsen.
Come out with the ball. Good.
Thomas goes back to Poole.
Needs you, Josh.
Matt Baker goes all the way back to Eddie Beach. Goalkeeper playing his football for Chelmsford at the moment, on loan from Chelsea. Scotland winning it back. Fiorini. Always getting his head up, looking for that pass. Summers with a first time ball, looking to see if he could release Josh Mulligan. It's a nice idea. Colwell. It's good play by Owen Beck. It's through for Caldwell has the step over. There's Josh Thomas. It's a really good recovery by Jeremiah Mullen, because Josh Thomas, I think he thought he was going to get a clear shot at goal there, but Jeremiah Mullen was quick to react, got back in position.
Yeah, I think we get away with one again here. Again, it's that man Caldwell recognises where the space is. He's so clever in and around the box. He picks his pass. Jeremiah Mullen does well to make the recovery, but plug those gaps much better than we are doing at the minute.
Put that Luca back in.
Murray Johnson just finding Liam Morrison there. I think it says a lot for Murray Johnson that Hibs at the start of this season were willing to loan him out, an emergency loan to Airdrie at the age of 17. You don't often see goalkeepers go on loan at that age, but Hibs see a lot of promise in him. Certainly rated very highly by those at Easter Road and those at his short time at Airdrie as well. Mulligan looking for that run of Max Johnson. Pass just overhit.
Yeah, it's been frustrating for the young Scots going forward. Just when they win the ball there, Mulligan just needs to be a wee bit better in possession. Tries to feed in Johnson. It's a good run. Execution, not what was required.
Well, there's going to be a change for Wales. On comes Zach Ashworth. Scotland going to make a change as well. A couple of changes. It is Tom Dixon-Peters is ready to come on. It will be Ryan Duncan, the Aberdeen man, will also come on. Diri Mabudi will make way for Tom Dixon-Peters. It's going to be Azim Abdalai. Comes off for Ryan Duncan.
Well, Mavidi, I think he'll be frustrated. He started brightly, but he's still got 56 minutes under his belt. Second cap.
Get it, Luca!
He's one that can be proud of his performances over the two games, I think. Especially the first one where he scores an outstanding goal, and I think we'll see bright things from him in the future. Abdalai probably a bit frustrated, like I was saying in the first half. Scotland midfield struggled to get it on the ball, get in possession, so there'll be probably better days for him, but good opportunity now. Ryan Duncan coming on, impressed at Aberdeen this season. Dixon-Peters, more of a front man, I feel.
Yeah, he will be the focal point of this Scotland side for the remaining 33 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear Mabudi before the game saying where he prefers to play, and it's certainly off the wide areas today. He occupied more of a front man role through the middle. I just wonder if Dixon-Peters coming on prove more of a focal point, someone who's used to playing in that area rather than off a wide area.
Play quickly!
Free kick will go the way of Wales. It's a Scotland under-21 debut for Ryan Duncan.
Go on, Zach. Go on, Zach.
He has made 16 appearances in the Scottish Premiership this season for Aberdeen. He's played all of their last 4 games as well. A couple of goals to his name this campaign too.
Yeah, it really has been one that's caught the eye this year. You always keep your eye open for young players breaking through, and to break through at a club like Aberdeen is never easy. As you say there, Andrew, getting plenty of game time shows what firstly Jim Goodwin thought of him and Barry Robson.
Made his Aberdeen debut a good while ago now, at a young age, November 2020. It's a substitute against Rangers at Ibrox.
Stand still, Al.
Caldwell managing to keep possession under pressure. Eventually Max Johnson gets the ball off him. course, Max Johnson from a footballing family. His dad, Alan Johnson, 18 senior caps for Scotland.
He was an outstanding player in his time, Alan. May have came up against him latterly in his career, early on in mine's. Still gave me a torrid time, I'm sure.
Duncan goes back to Liam Morrison. Winning the armband today, Liam Morrison. It was Josh Doig that wore the armband on Thursday night. Beach decides to go along with that one as the wind started to pick up in Pinatar. Duncan down to Fiorini for the run of Tom Dixon-Peters.
Luca, come on, get us up again. Too many cuts.
Dixon-Peters in his under-21 debut, one of the few players that made their debut in November 2020 in that friendly against Iceland. Plays his football at Norwich, but he's on loan at Grimsby at the moment. Actually got a goal on his debut against Crewe in February.
Tell you what, he's a big lad. Need to utilise that. Maybe a bit like the senior squad, the way we use Shea Adams and Lyndon Dykes. Lyndon Dykes came on yesterday showing how important that is to use your body when you are the focal point of the front line. The young man Dixon-Peters will do well to look at that and try to emulate something along those lines. But we need to get service to him, and I think that's been the problem this afternoon, Andrew, for our front players. The service to them hasn't quite been there. They've never really had anything to get a hold of.
Morrison to Lewis Nielsen.
Good, well done.
So the ball over the top towards Tom Dixon-Peters. Quite keen to be proactive from centre-back Lewis Nielsen in this game so far, always looking whether it's a ball over the top, pass into midfield, or a driving run from that back three.
Yeah, always looking forward. It's a good trait to have as a centre-back, particularly if you're playing part of a back three. If you're playing either the right one or the left one of that back three, then the emphasis is on you to drive forward and pick passes out. Nielsen's never been shy this afternoon.
We saw that from Ryan Porteous yesterday, just his second senior cap. Very comfortable in taking the ball out from the back. It's the type of thing that Steve Clarke will be looking at for these under-21 players, because we want to see if they're comfortable in the system that he plays.
Yeah, that's much better pressing from Scotland.
Dixon-Peters on the turn, goes for goal, didn't quite catch it right on the turn. Beach just able to get that one away with his feet.
Come on, switch on, 2v1.
Well, he's only been on for a couple of minutes, and already he's used his body, like I was saying a few moments ago, to turn low and get a shot away, and it's the first save that Beach has had to make.
Come on, Owen.
It's good from Mullen, just to track the flight of the ball. Fiorini dropping deep, looking the ball over towards Max Johnson.
Someone turned that wind up in this half, because it didn't seem to be playing a part in the second half. I actually thought that was a good ball there from Fiorini, but you just see a gust picking up and taking out. Just seen Dixon-Peters there. Good use of the body, gets the arm out, feels low behind him, rolls him, manages to get his shot away. Beach saves low with his feet, but much better. That came from Scotland pressing Wales, you know, going after them in the corner, forcing them into conceding a throw in. We get the shot on target from that.
Pressure applied by Lewis Nielsen, but it is a foul on Josh Thomas.
Never a foul in a million years, that. I think Nielsen does well. He's brave as a centre-back, goes all the way in.
Come on, Kingy.
I think Josh Thomas just goes down very easily there, buys that one.
King. It's out to Baker. Fiorini weighing it back for Scotland. Good feet by Fiorini, just for Max Johnson over the top. You can see see every time Lewis Fiorini gets in the ball, he's wanting to create. First time ball over the top there to Tom Dixon-Peters. It was accurate, but it was a tough one for Dixon-Peters to try and get anything goalward.
It's a great effort. Looked like a magnificent ball there. Maybe the wind just caught it, but you're right, Andrew. You see Fiorini when he comes on, always looking positive, always looking forward. Great technical ability.
Hammond goes forward, but goes to Morrison. Here's Nielsen. Fine, back to Nielsen. Does well to not only create the space, but get the ball into the feet of Tom Dixon-Peters, but just a mix-up in communication between him and Ryan Duncan, the two substitutes. Stevens. Caldwell flicks it round the corner, does really well to find Finn Stevens. And another chance here, Josh Farrell's shot blocked. And Wales not happy with 3, they're looking for another. Scotland will have a chance to maybe put this one towards the Wales box for the free kick, but it's a lovely flick round the corner here from Ruben Caldwell.
Terrific flick. But this time we've got enough bodies back. It's Nielsen, is it? It gets the block, and then Duncan does well to work it up to Dixon-Peters, who wins the foul. Good pass that.
Summers. Fiorini. Oh, it's Ryan Duncan actually goes for goal. That one actually took a deflection. Scotland do get the corner out of it.
Much better though. Quick thinking. Quick ball into Ben Summers. He looks forward. Effort just deflected wide. We've got a corner kick. Delivery's got to be better than the corner kick we had in the first half, where it was a wee bit floaty. I'd like to see this going at pace.
Well, one Scottish Premiership goal this season for Ryan Duncan, scored against Livingston. Also got one in the League Cup in October against Partick Thistle. Looking to open his account for Scotland Under-21s. Fiorini takes the corner, goes towards Ben Summers. Didn't quite catch it correctly. So look to aim the ball goalwards. Fiorini, who looked to deliver that first time on the volley. It's a lovely couple of touches there. A fantastic challenge by Ben Summers. Play will go on. Hammond to Stevens. He'll deliver. And the header by Josh Thomas. He's never threatening Murray Johnson in the Scotland goal.
Not sure how much Ben Summers would have thanked you for that corner from Fiorini just moments ago, though. I mean, he's just at the edge of the box here. I don't think he's paying much attention, and Fiorini tries to just chip it to him. The wind whistling. It was a hard one for the young man to take.
Devine's ball deflects into a crowded area. Here's Ruben Caldwell, goes for the strike, blocked by Jeremiah Mullen. Goes back to Joe Lowe. Poole to Hammond. Morrison will deal with it. Hammond heads it forward. Lewis Nielsen opts to go back to Murray Johnson. Just looking for the run of Max Johnson there, who put a hand up in appreciation of the idea of what Murray Johnson was trying to do.
I think the problem we've faced this afternoon, or one of them, is, you know, experimenting with that back three. And see, it takes a lot to get a back three right, particularly if you're not used to playing it. So, you know, for Liam Morrison and Mullen and Nielsen at times, not quite sure when to engage and when to step out. And that uncertainty, I think, is fed into the midfield areas and who's picking up runners, and that's been a problem that I think Caldwell has exposed. Particularly a player of his ability, that's why we've found ourselves up against it for large periods of this game.
See Scott Gemmell and the staff using this water break just to get some more messages across to his players. Just over 20 minutes left on the clock in this game, and he'll be hoping that they can show some signs of promise in this final game of this international camp. You can see how warm it is as well. Max Johnson just getting a cold towel there to cool him down. What is a warm day in Pinatar.
Yeah, we also have to remember that, what it takes out of the players. Never easy playing in hot conditions. I was never a fan of it myself, to be honest. Feel drained quite early on, so young players having to put up with that, of course, as well. And they're playing against a Welsh side here who have settled into their patterns of play, been dictated by the man in the middle of the pitch. So it's been a tough afternoon so far for them, but one that they will learn from. You play games like these, even in defeat, you learn a lot about your players, a lot about your system, what works, what doesn't work. I'm sure Scott Gemmell will assess it afterwards and sit down with his staff and he'll pick positives, but he'll also see where things went wrong and what they can improve on come September.
Yeah, certainly a valuable experience for these young players. Big fixtures coming up towards the end of the year, as you said, and those qualification games, the likes of Spain, Belgium, huge games for these players, testing themselves against some of the best young talent in Europe.
Well, it's a terrific experience. I was briefly looking back on some of my own under-21 appearances and seen some of the names that I came up against at that period in time that you never knew where they would go to at that time, but guys like Benzema and Lloris, and I wonder what they ever did in their career at international level.
I think they're sitting back wondering what happened to Mark Wilson.
I'm pretty sure you're thinking that most weekends. But it just shows you the level that when you come up against, it is the cream of the crop of each country you're coming up against, and that can only make you better as a player. So for the young ones who are getting selected for the first time in this trip, or the more experienced ones like Fiorini and Liam Morrison, then you're coming up against the best in your category. So valuable, very valuable experiences when you go away with the Scotland under-21 side.
A couple of changes for Wales. Joe Taylor coming on, the Luton Town striker. Jayden Raymond also making his way onto the pitch. The 19-year-old plays his football for Crystal Palace. Mulligan. So Mullen, here's Max Johnston. That ball into the box. It's headed away. Scotland will have the throw, and Max Johnston will take.
I think Johnson was just looking for perhaps someone to bounce it off, someone to just stand maybe at the corner of the box there to feed it into.
Johnson goes back to Liam Morrison. Nielsen. Ben Summers had to get creative to try and get that under control, but Jayden Raymond is the one that comes away with it. Full. We saw when Scotland were 3-1 down on Thursday, they didn't give up, they got a late goal, they kept on pushing to try and close that deficit. That's the type of attitude that Scott Gemmell will be looking for from his players today, to fight right to the end of this match, see if they can take something away from this game.
Yeah, important that. See, you learn a lot about your players in defeat also.
Raymond with a strike, that one just wide of the mark. And it actually took a neck on the way past as well. First involvement for Jayden Raymond.
I think that's a great save there from Murray Johnson. If I'm right, I think he gets a touch, but again, it just all opens up. Space is too big. It's a good effort and goal. Murray Johnson just tips it round, because no doubt in my mind that was settling in the bottom corner to make it 4.
First big involvement for Murray Johnson at under-21 level for Scotland, stopping that one from going into the bottom corner. Signed a new deal at Hibs recently and really is their number 2 goalkeeper now, is on the bench for them regularly. And not a bad player to learn from, and David Marshall ahead of him.
Not bad that, is it? Having David to look up to and train with every day. Knows the youth setup at Scotland well, knows the full squad setup well. Sure, Murray will learn a lot from him.
Mullen to Johnston, back to Mullen. Here is Murray Johnson. Mullen just assessing his options, looking for movement ahead of him. Johnson goes over the top, Ryan Duncan will chase. Here's Hull. Ball played forward. It's a really good ball forward towards Ollie Hammond, who's got Raymond in support, but it's too far ahead of the Crystal Palace man. There was just one ball over the top that unlocked the Scotland defence there.
Got to give credit to Wales because they worked that terrifically well, actually. From the back, Hull sucks in young Ben Summers, little nutmeg into his midfield, back, then a great through ball for the run at Ollie Hammond. So the Welsh certainly know how to play. They struggled at times early on in the first half because Scotland were plugging gaps, but they found a way around it. And runners from midfield, again key, just shows you that you need to match those runners. Ollie Hammond prepared to go in beyond his strikers, much like Colwell's done this afternoon. Wales have got a lot of success from it.
There has been another change for Scotland as well. Josh Adam making his way onto the pitch. Came off the bench on Thursday night's match for his Scotland under-21 debut, and will have just around 15 minutes to try and make an impact in this game. Did get an assist, took the corner for Lewis Fiorini's goal at the end of that game during the week.
Yep, another opportunity for the young man to impress. 25 minutes or so to go, so plenty of time.
Certainly did impress for the under-19s towards the end of last year. That earned him a call-up to this squad. Was one of the later call-ups after a few players dropped out with injuries. But he has benefited from that. There has been a shuffling of the pack as well from Scotland. Max Johnson has come over to this near side now, and it looks as if Josh Mulligan will now play as the right wing back.
Well, again, I think it's important when you assemble a squad to have players that can fill different positions. Max Johnson and Josh Mulligan, no stranger to that at club football as well. Adam Devine, obviously, naturally a right back, but occupied the left hand side today for the majority of the game. That's important because when you change systems, and just like that, Lewis Nielsen just gone down off the ball incident there, he gets up and has a wee shove back at the Welsh forward. Don't think there's too much in it.
Colwell places out to Mulligan. Tom Dixon-Peters did well to roll his defender there, but was fouled. There's a yellow card as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be a yellow card there because Dixon-Peters does well, ball over the top, uses his body well. I was speaking about that earlier on, just wrong. I think he's got the pace there to go in. There's no question, it was never ever going to be a red card offence or anything like that, but definitely a yellow card. Good play from the front man.
Yeah, Joe Lowe just knew he'd been taken out of the game there by the physical presence of Tom Dixon-Peters, had to commit the foul. Josh Adam goes short to Fiorini and then all the way back to Jeremiah Mullen.
You know, in possession, I'd just like to see us give Wales a problem. We've got that back three, and quite often one or two of them are just redundant. Maybe step in, try and give Wales something to think about, make their forwards think they need to go with this guy and pick up, and sometimes that just creates the space ahead for one of our more creative players to step in. It's been a wee bit predictable sometimes from our point of view in possession.
Adam. Nice feet by Josh Adam. Finds Ryan Duncan. Nielsen to Johnson. Flicks it around the corner towards Dixon-Peters.
What ball that was. Very difficult coming in his right foot to whip that round the corner.
Adam, lovely turn by Josh Adam, and again wriggling away from his man. Duncan. Peters lays it off for Ben Summers. It's Duncan who recovers it for Scotland. Fiorini. Couldn't find his man with the eventual pass, Lewis Fiorini. Caldwell goes back to Stevens. Raymond. It's grounded by Liam Morrison. And Ruben Caldwell's just gone down on the near side here as well. Who's been one of the real bright sparks for Wales in this game. Maybe one that the coaching staff will have a look at. A potential change. I think he will come off Ruben Caldwell. His number is up. There will be a couple of changes for Wales. Joe Cottrell coming on, as well as Owen Hesketh.
Well, thank goodness for that, Andrew. There's no doubt about it. Ruben Caldwell been the standout performer today. You can just see his experience and his ability on the ball, his vision as well. Again, I'll keep coming back to it. It's a valuable experience for our young players. Being in and around that, recognising, you know, that you give a player a couple of yards with his ability, he will punish you. So this is in good stead going forward. That's what these games are all about. Both managers utilising the full squads here in the heat in Spain. It takes a lot out of the players, this.
Yeah, Captain Finn Stevens also coming off for Wales. Wolves' own Hesketh, the man replacing him. Joe Cottrell, the other substitute. Swansea City. Will goes back to Lowe. First touch for Owen Hesketh. Wales will just be happy to see this game out, but Scotland will be keen to try and make their mark in the final few minutes of this game. Dixon-Peters to Fiorini. Trying to look for the pass, look for the run of Ryan Duncan, who is making that from midfield.
Yeah, we've never really had the ball for a long enough period throughout the game to really build any sort of meaningful attack. Give our front men, Dixon-Peters it is now, but Mabudi or Connor Smith when he was on, a real chance to trouble the Welsh backline. That's been the issue. You know, our back three have seen a lot of possession, but it's just that bit of quality into our midfield that's been missing. But here we go now, we've nicked it here. Oh, certainly a yellow card, surely.
Yeah, the card does come out. The foul was on Josh Mulligan, who switched over to that right wing back role. Did well to knock the ball by his man was just cynically taken out.
Does brilliantly there. First to anticipate it, to nick the ball, but then to show the pace, just to nick it round the defender. Just like to see us put the Welsh under a bit of pressure here. I know it's still a bit of a distance out. Always a difficult ball, particularly when you've not got a left-sided player to whip that in towards the goalkeeper, so it's always going to be an outswinger here.
Yeah, Scotland have been keen to take these quick and short a lot of the time, but it looks as if this one will be delivered into the Wales box. Fiorini goes towards Josh Adam, just creating the angle for the cross. It's actually shepherded out well by Wales. Owen Beck, the man to do so. And it is a wasted opportunity for Scotland.
I think in that situation there, I think it's easy sitting here and watching it, but has to be a pass probably into a striker to then release Josh Adam the wide area rather than that straight pass. You can see there the Welsh had it pretty well covered as soon as Josh Adam starts making his run. They know to follow him, but if it goes into that striker and he plays it round the corner, it's a whole different ball game. That just things like that today, you know, all of them have added up to make it a difficult afternoon for the young Scots.
Well, this game does signal the end for this international camp for these under-21 players. 2 games, Sweden on Thursday and this one against Wales today. They'll return to their respective clubs for the final couple of months of the league season. They'll meet up again later on this year for big crucial qualifiers. Dixon Peters trying to find Josh Adam and hold the ball up for him. Wales win it back, and there's a foul by Josh Mulligan, who's going to go into the book, the first Scotland player to do so in this game.
Yeah, just has to be careful there after he gives the foul away. I think you can see the frustration there coming out of a couple of the Scotland players. It's been a long afternoon in the heat for them. Things not quite went their way today. Players maybe been starved of possession. And we all know how frustrating that can be when you're on the pitch, and sometimes you're chasing shadows, and no matter what you do, you can't get close to anyone. It's been a bit like that this afternoon.
And Wales just quite happy to slow things down, do things at their own pace with this 3-goal lead.
I think they certainly will be. The Welsh manager will be pretty happy with how they've moved the ball and they've found answers to Scotland's press in the first half. They certainly look like they've assembled a squad that knows what they're doing. Good mix of experience and youth in there also.
Yeah, well, a few of these under-21 players for Scotland earning their first couple of caps in this camp, and plenty more to come for a few of them as well, given their ages. A lot of 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds in this Scotland squad who will be available for many more of these under-21 cycles.
Yeah, and a lot of them can be proud from their performances over the last 2 games. Particularly today, it's maybe harder to pick out standout players on the day because you're facing a Welsh side that have been in control for the large majority. But I think the man on the ball just now, Lewis Nielsen, has shown that he's more than capable of occupying the left side of a 3. He's more than comfortable. I know it's not his natural position, but he looks powerful, he looks strong, matched his runners, but in possession he looks like a player that's always looking forward. I think he's been a real positive today.
Josh Adam does well to get away from a few white shirts, but the pass wasn't towards a Scotland player. Raymond flicks it on. There's a foul by Josh Adam. Scotland also hampered by the fact that the likes of Josh Doig, Hayden Hackney, Kieran Bowie, who all performed well in that game on Thursday night, returned to their clubs over the weekend, unable to feature in this match. Ben Summers in there to win the ball. Shirt was being pulled by Luca Hull. Scotland take it quickly. Nielsen. Mullen. Mullen checks back. Here's Josh Adam. said earlier, Wales just happy to slow things down in the final moments of this game. Will we see potentially a final chance for one of these teams as we enter the final minute of the 90? Who goes forward?
Well, it seems a long time away to the start of the qualification campaign, but 6 months will pass pretty quickly, Andrew, and I'm sure these players will have a few opportunities to meet up again and familiarise themselves with each other, take stock of what's went wrong today.
It was a lovely turn, and there's a chance for Ollie Hammond here. Jeremiah Mullen gets across quickly. Liam Morrison had committed the initial foul, but it was all opened up by a nice spin by Joe Taylor on the ball.
Yeah, good piece of skill there from Taylor. Morrison, it wasn't for the second one, I think it was for the first foul initially. Just gives the Welsh a chance to maybe have a pop up. Murray Johnson in goals, add to their tally. Difficult one this, what are we talking, 25 yards out perhaps. Right side of the box, favours a left footer. I'm sure he'll have a pop here.
Zach Ashworth standing over it, as is Owen Beck. Two left footers, it does look as if it will be a shot. Owen Beck to take it, goes low, hits the feet of Tom Dixon-Peters. That will be a free kick to Scotland. Josh Adam fouled as he recovered the ball, did well initially to win it. We are 1 minute into the minimum of 3 additional minutes that have been added in this game. Of course, there has been water breaks because of the heat in Spain. Well, I think that maybe is just a sign of the frustration of these Scotland players. Tom Dixon-Peters booked for just clipping the defender after the ball had gone.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dixon-Peters there just hugely frustrated. Little kick out there in the centre half. And we just need to keep the head. I've been there before, Andrew, where you're on the pitch and it seems like everything's going against you. You've hardly seen the ball, but you need to remember what these games are for. You know, they're friendly games. They're warm-up games for a much important campaign further down the line. We don't just want to go lashing out in these situations, so Dixon-Peters just needs to keep the head.
Fiorini wins a free kick just inside his own half. Fiorini, who goes quickly, it's a good ball towards Max Johnson, but he was offside, the Motherwell fullback. Showing his versatility as well, switching to this left wing back role after playing most of the game over on the right. What do you think Scott Gemmell will take away from this camp as a whole, Mark?
Well, he would have had a good look at his players on the training pitch. He would have seen some moments of quality, and particularly Sweden game. Disappointing one for the young Scots this afternoon. A lot to learn playing against players who have played at the top level. You take away that his shape, what worked and what didn't, I suppose, and you look at that going forward.
Well, the full-time whistle has sounded at the Pinatar Arena. Wales comfortable winners by the scoreline, 3-0 against Scotland. 2 of those goals coming in the first half, and then adding a third in the second 45. Scotland maybe would have liked to have tested the Wales goalkeeper Eddie Beach a bit more than they did, but it does bring to a close this camp. The Scotland players have been over in Spain since last Monday. Some valuable time training together, playing together, just being together as a group as well, because some of these players won't have played together before. Some of these players haven't been at this level, playing at under-21 international level, so a good experience for them to take back to their clubs as they look to play at their respective levels. Some will go back to playing some top flight football in their countries. Others will go back to loan spells where they're playing. Others are playing development football at some big clubs as well. And we can see some of the highlights from this game. It was Wales who caused more problems in this match. Scotland to try and unlock things early on. That ball around the corner from Dire Mabudi not quite coming off. This was in the lead up, Wales trying that ball first time round, which didn't work out, but eventually led to their first goal. Here was Connor Smith, who started up front with Dire Mabudi in this match. It was interesting to see the switch of formation in this game as well, of course mirroring what the senior side have done so successfully under Steve Clarke, playing with that 3 at the back. Dire Mabudi just showing his pace, what he's capable of in an attacking sense. But ultimately a lot of these Scotland openings never really led to Eddie Beach being tested, which will be a frustrating thing that Scotland will take away from this game.
I certainly think so, but we need to remember what these games were planned for. You rightly touched on the point of the young players getting to know each other, not just on the pitch but on a personal level as well, trying out different formations when it comes to match time, and maybe some of that didn't work, and we see the goal here from a Welsh point of view. You touched on it again, that they've tried it before. Where Colwell tried to play in Josh Farrell once before and it got cut out. That time it was successful. And Slickard couldn't keep the ball out that time, and that kind of set the tone. The goal certainly made a difference. I felt once the Welsh scored, their tails were up. I thought we retreated a tad and we didn't really create anything after that. But again, Scott Gemmell will learn a lot from his players, from how they reacted to that, how they get better from that. And I'm sure they'll chat about that in future meetings to come.
Well, the second goal for Wales, which we'll see shortly, did come from a set piece. It was a header at the front post by Joe Lowe. And that'll be something that, of course, Scott Gemmell will look on again, but we touched on it there with some big games to come later on this year, the likes of Spain and Belgium. Scott Gemmell will tell you that, you know, a lot of these under-21 games are about the experience, about making sure that the players, you know, at this level are competing and seeing what they can do, and just about the development of these players especially, which is the main thing.
Yeah, well, you've got to understand about when players get together for the Scotland 21s, they're coming together for sometimes the first time, but when they're playing club football, they're surrounded by experienced pros who can help them along. When a young group's put together and they come up against, you know, quality players, sometimes can prove difficult. You know, you need players to step up with that leadership qualities. I thought we were maybe a wee bit short in that respect today. Some of the runners not picked up, and maybe that's what's missing from a Scotland youth perspective, that maybe sometimes people are a bit tentative to dig people out, but that's what these camps are for people to get to know each other. We see the start to the second half there for Scotland after they lost that set piece goal. Hugely disappointing, but the second half we changed formation, one that looked like it suited our players much more, but got off to the worst possible start, not matching runners, basic principles of the game. But there's that man, Colin Will, bit of quality, good finish at the back post.
Yeah, that ball across the face of goal with the outside of the boot was good from Ruben Colwell. As we said earlier, 8 caps for Wales senior side. He's also got a goal for them as well. Scored in a 1-1 draw against the Czech Republic in March of last year. That is just one of the signs of the quality that Scotland were up against in this game. Ruben Colwell certainly the most experienced international player out of any of the players that took to the pitch today. And a lot of these Scotland players will be hoping that this is the next step in their development, and will hope that they can make their way into Steve Clarke's plans in the future. But a lot of youngsters in here, as I said earlier on, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds in this Scotland squad that will benefit so much from what they faced against Sweden on Thursday night, where Scotland did manage to grab a couple of goals, a couple of quality goals as well from Dire Mabudi and Lewis Fiorini. Not quite able to get on the score sheet today, Scotland.
Just seen a couple of involvements there from Dixon Peters throughout the game, where I thought he came on and he did well in some respect. He certainly spearheaded the front line and used his body well on certain occasions, but again it was just the service to him wasn't quite there. He got our one shot on target where he spun the defender and forced Ed Beach into a save. I'm sure he'll look to build on that in his international career going forward.
Seen a couple of clips so far of Lewis Fiorini as well, who can be happy with his contribution over these two games. Certainly a player that many people are excited about, the 20-year-old who actually has a lot of experience. He's had a couple of really good loan spells at NAC Breda and then at Lincoln City. He'll hope to finish this season strongly with Blackpool, and he'll have certainly benefited from earning his 6th and 7th under-21 cap, and of course capping the first of those two this week with a goal of real quality. But that's for this tie between Scotland's under-21s and Wales under-21s. It was a 3-0 win for the Welsh in the end, and that signs off what has been this international camp for Scott Gemmell's young side. A 3-2 defeat to Sweden on Thursday night and a 3-0 defeat today, but plenty of experience and plenty of things that these young players can take away from this game. Of course, the international break continues. There is a big game for the Scotland senior side on Tuesday night. They host Spain at Hampden. That's off the back of yesterday's 3-0 win over Cyprus, and of course Steve Clarke signing a new deal through to 2026. The Scottish FA caught up with the Scotland manager after he signed that deal.
Steve, congratulations, you've signed a new contract up until the World Cup in 2026. How pleased are you to have made that commitment to lead us through these next years?
Obviously, you're always proud to be head coach of your country, so to get the chance to extend it is great. Proud moment for me and my family, but also very grateful to the players. Without the players doing what they do on the pitch, working the way they work, getting the results that we've had over the last nearly almost 4 years now, I don't get that offer. I don't get that, you know, because the players make it happen. Obviously the coaching staff that I've had with me has changed a lot over those years, so thanks to all the guys for helping me as well. But the most important thing is what's coming up next. I'm not so daft to get carried away with a long-term contract in football, because I know how the football works. You have to get results. You have to get results on the pitch, and we have to continue to try to make the nation happy with our national team.
You say the most important things, what coming up next? Cyprus tomorrow. Cyprus was also your first game in charge. Does this give you a moment to sort of stop and reflect on the progress you've made in the last 4 years as head coach?
Yeah, I think when you look at what we've achieved over the term that I've had so far, I think to qualify for our first major tournament was obviously a big plus for everyone in the country. We were determined to build on that. Unfortunately, we came up short in the playoff games. We had a good World Cup qualifying campaign, finished second in the group, above were Sweden. We managed to beat a pot 1 seeded team in Denmark here at Hampden, which is something that we've spoken about. We have to do better against the pot 1 teams. We've now got ourselves seeded as a pot 2. Thanks probably to a good Nations League campaign where we got promotion to the top group. So we're pushing ourselves all the time. We want to be successful. We want to make the country proud of the national team. And that's all we're focused on. The next campaign's coming up. I've said often that we don't, and I know this group of players don't want to be one tournament wonders. They want to go to another major tournament. Euro 2024 is the next campaign, and we're determined to be in Germany.
Now, the squad's evolved quite a lot in your time in charge. You said as much in your press conference when you announced the squad for Cyprus and Spain. There's been a lot of consistent faces, but a lot of new ones as well. How do you assess the progress that your squad has made?
Well, we look at my first squad, and it seems a long time ago since I picked it. I picked a squad of 27 because it was a summer camp. I picked a squad of 27 because I wanted to have a look at what was around, who was available. There's only 7 of that. There's only 7 of that initial squad that are in this squad. So that tells you we've evolved quite a lot in terms of players. I think we've managed to, like you mentioned, one of the first things I said was we don't have enough international experience in the squad. So consistency of selection with some of the players has got us towards now I'm handing out 25 cap medals, 50 cap medals. So suddenly we're becoming more experienced internationally. But there's also another but, and it's a good but. We're looking down at the younger players, and we've shown that there's a pathway from the 19s to the 21s to the full squad. So we've got a really good core of young players who are with us, maybe not always playing, maybe feeling as though they're just part of the squad, but those guys are also the future. They're in and around the camp, they're getting the experience to go forward, and hopefully when everybody grows old, everybody takes their time and eventually they drop out the international scene, the next group is already in the making. That's what I see, and that's what I hope will happen in the future.
Now, one of the other things you said when you first took over as head coach was you wanted to break that hoodoo of not qualifying for a major tournament. How does this new deal help you in your preparations to make us a team that consistently qualifies?
Well, it gives continuity, and obviously it's, like I said, the players must have done something right, and if I can give myself a little bit of credit, I must have done something right, because my bosses have shown by twice extending my contract that they see that we're doing the right thing. They can see the evolution that we're trying to have for the squad. They can see that we're trying to build not only for now, we want to qualify now, but we want to qualify 26, 28, 30. We want to be more successful as a national team. And obviously it's nice when your bosses give you that support.
Now there's a lot to look forward to coming up for you and the fans. The Euro qualifiers about to begin, Nations League, Group A. How much are you looking forward to these challenges coming up? Very much. It's been a long winter. It's been a long time since we played competitive games. The last competitive games were last September. We're 5 unbeaten, competitive. I know we lost a friendly match in Turkey, but we didn't play too badly. There was a lot of good things in Turkey as well. So when you wait that long and you're a guy like me who likes to be in and around the players, it's been good this week because for the first time in a long time we've had a Saturday game as the first game, so that gives you the full week's preparation, so time to get the information across to the players that will be relevant for the 2 games coming up. And yeah, it's nice to get the boots on, get the whistle out and kid on, I'm a coach again. Now I just want to finish off, the fans believe in this team, and that's reflected by the full houses we're seeing at Hampden. You know, Cyprus and Spain sold out. How proud are you to have been the coach that has led that renewed faith in this team? Yeah, I'm proud to be the coach that's led the players that have re-engaged, that have allowed the fans, the Tartan Army, to re-engage with the Scottish national team. And some of the nights we had here in the World Cup qualifying campaign, the last-minute goal against Israel, the night against Denmark, you know, the place was jumping, but you could feel that connection between the fans and the players. That's something to be happy with, but we have to understand that going forward, we're the ones that are responsible for keeping that connection. We have to be successful. If we're successful, I've always said that if Scotland have got a successful national team, the Tartan Army are there to support us. Steve, congratulations again and good luck for tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks very much.